This is episode 142 of Weighing In with Travis Hartman. I am B Money, the producer. That over there is the talent. Weekend Trav. I have no notebook, so we're going to be winging this thing. But we do know for a fact we are talking. Hey, we'll talk about that in a second. But also, we have to talk about Mike Perry's big victory last night in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. We got to recap what happened with Ryan Garcia as well on Saturday. There's a lot to talk about as we start to approach year-end weekend travel. Let's start with Mike Perry. Platinum Mike Perry. Ooh.
Nobody better to start with than Mike Perry.
Absolutely not.
Let's be honest. Like we've said this a long time ago. Mike was in the studio, did it in this corner edition. You should check that out. But the guy is a walking ratings hit.
Yeah.
Mike Perry could say anything he wants, and people are going to watch it.
Well, and he did post-fight, which is probably starting to go viral a little bit, depending on your Instagram, wherever else. But there is some clippage out there. We're not going to necessarily push that out, but it was kind of funny, some of the stuff that was said. But Weekend Trav, he backs it up. He backed it up when he was going John with Eddie Alvarez. Right.
Former UFC champ, right?
Absolutely.
He was a champ in the
Absolutely.
UFC.
These guys, they want to come in from the MMA ranks and think they want to do bare knuckle just like Mike Perry did. And boy, is he sending them home packing. This is the second one in a row that basically he made quit in this fight.
He did.
Second round.
Yep,
Go for it.
Yep. So, I mean, listen, there's a little clip on our episode, and I believe Joe Rogan said the same thing, but Mike Perry is built for this. And we're seeing it unfold in front of our eyes right now. Every fighter that he faces, Mike took some punishment, but that's his thing. Mike even said it in the post fight. He was like, we do some training sessions where I move our head. He's like, you know what? I like to get hit sometimes.
Yeah.
And he liked to get hit. And Eddie Alvarez hit him a lot.
Yeah.
But guess what? Mike Perry doesn't go away.
No.
Like, here's the deal. So I had fighters fighting also this Saturday, amateur fighters fighting, and I've always told my guys this, and I was like, listen, just because you drop somebody, you knock somebody down, don't get this high confidence, because I promise you, unless you knock him out, then you get that confidence. But if you just knock a guy down, you kill him with a clean shot, and you see him get up, I promise you it messes with your psyche. When you hit the guy with your best shot and you watch him get up, you would think if you're watching the fight, you're just like, oh, wow, this guy, he knocked the other guy down. But I'm telling you, it actually messes with the psyche of the guy knocking the guy down when you watch him get up.
Right.
Because you're like, I hit this guy with my best shot, and he went down, and he's getting back up. That's Mike. Mike messes with your psyche, because Eddie Alvarez even said it in the post-fight press conference. He said, I hit Mike Perry with everything I had, and I hit him hard and a lot.
It seems to me
kept coming.
That's what every opponent so far in bare knuckle has said about Mike when they go toe-to-toe with him at the end. They say, I hit him with everything, and he kept coming. He just keeps coming. He absorbs a lot of damage, Weekend Trav. You alluded to that. If you look at both of these fighters' faces after the fight, you're not sure who won. They both looked definitely tarnished up, beat up, swollen up. But Mike Perry kept going. He has the heart and the will of a lion there. We've said it so much. And when he was on the pod, and he was here with you for like an hour and a half. Crazy
37
stuff.
minutes.
He talks about it. I mean, there's just something inside of him that keeps him pressing forward and overwhelms the opponents. Eddie Alvarez, second round, didn't answer the bell. He was done. He didn't want any more of this stuff. And we've seen that before with the opponents of Mike in bare knuckle.
Yep, 100%. I mean, Mike he's got that dog in him, and he does. He's got more than a dog in him. He's got a lion in him. He's got a bear in him. He's got a shark in him. He's got about every single dominant species on any planet. He's got the polar bear in him. He's got the dog in him. He's got the shark.
There's a lot of animals.
He will take you anywhere you want to go.
Yeah.
He's coming back.
The animal kingdom.
You feel me? He's taking you out to anywhere.
Mike's
coming back.
I literally do feel you. Our knees are touching here. Now, before the trolls get on here and be like, you guys are just doing whatever with Mike Perry. You're just, whatever. You know what?
I'm giving it real, man.
We're keeping it real. That was nonsense last night. Just depravity extreme. It was, oh my gosh. How do you even describe what you saw
it's indescribable.
In that circle?
It's genuinely indescribable. What Mike Perry does is genuinely indescribable, and I'm genuinely super happy for the man and the fact that so Mike Perry had some dog in him, right? But Mike Perry has a new profound why. He's got a wife and 2 kids. That's even scarier. Because when you know that you're providing now for somebody other than yourself, and we talked about it on the podcast, because me and B Money are fathers now. I'm a recent father. I have twins on the way. But Mike Perry, his are also very recent. I think his boy is 2 years old, and he just had the other one. So his why is different now.
Oh, yeah.
And it was already just a beast, but now Mike Perry's why is he's got a wife and 2 kids.
Well, you talk about animal instinct. He is, when he's backed into a corner, which all these fights, I mean, that's kind of the mentality, is that you're backing him into a corner. How do you think he's going to respond? Is it going to be fight or flight? What do you think? Come on, give me a break.
We talked about that briefly in this corner. I was like, most people have a natural, the psychological version of everybody is fight or flight. So what do you think Mike?
So what was this belt that it was like
King of Violence?
King of Violence. Well, that is obviously accurate. It's not going to be too far from now where they're going to want to probably put him up for an actual belt, actual title in that league. I don't know what weight class they would probably put him up, but for now,
who owns a title at that weight class other than Mike?
Honestly, like but for now they don't need to, because he's a draw,
100%,
even without having to put him in the title
100%.
ranks. But I know him, and I know he's going to want that real belt, right? So, anyways,
I just want to know one thing though. Now that Mike is king, Mike, what's your next? Like, you're king, so you get to call all shots now, right? Because you're king, right? You're newly crowned king. What's your next proclamation? I like that word. What's your next proclamation towards the fighting world? I want to know that, Mike. What's your next proclamation?
Well, I think
as a recent king. Also, don't forget about us little guys like weighing in with Travis Harmon. Don't forget about us, the #1 boxing beers bourbon podcast.
He's good. I think the proclamation is going to be something along the lines of just waiting with the fury of 1,000 hells for whoever wants to come his way. Whoa. And you heard that here first, Mike. So make sure you
B Money heard it.
The
B Money
fury
said it.
of 1,000 hells, waiting for whoever wants to step in that ring with you, and we're waiting to see it. So that's Mike Perry victorious because he just beat the dude's life to a pulp. Round 2, Eddie Alvarez didn't answer the call. Let's shift.
Mike Perry undefeated in bare knuckle.
Great. Congratulations. Let's shift over to. Okay, let me get
softer side.
I'm gonna get very soft, but rightfully so. He had a great fight. So let's talk about this. I'm gonna open it with a question to you, Weekend Trav.
Okay.
Who is the bigger Twitter warrior, Ryan Garcia or Shakur Stevenson?
Oof, draw.
Okay, so that's why we're bringing it up. Ryan Garcia is victorious.
Draw. That
against
is
Duarte. Yeah. And it's interesting because I love it when one of these Twitter keyboard jockeys calls out another keyboard jockey for doing what they do on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it now. Or Instagram. Like, that's the pot calling the kettle black. That's an old man saying right here. We're in our 40s. That's what old people say. But Ryan Garcia calling out Shakur Stevenson and amongst others. But let's get to the fight itself. He is victorious against Duarte.
So, but let's be fair. Twitter warriors in a different sense, because the average troll can't fight. Ryan Garcia and Shakur Stevenson can fight.
But
let's call them professional boxing Twitter warriors. Because they're not the average troll, because the average troll can't fight.
Well, I didn't call him a troll. I called him a warrior.
It's a little bit trolly-like.
A Twitter warrior.
But
an ex-warrior.
Yes. So they both can fight. But Ryan Garcia, in all of his pretty boy stuff, all of his social media stuff, the kid on multiple occasions now has proved that he's pretty dang tough. Granted, he did lose to Tank Davis. He got stopped with a body shot. So be it. It's tough. I've been stopped with body shots, and I know body shots are the worst. They are. But Tank Davis is probably Gervonta Davis is probably one of the best in the division as well. But I'm telling you right now that Ryan Garcia had he had the odds for once, even though he was the A side, the odds were stacked against Ryan Garcia. This opponent was Ryan Garcia's first opponent after being stopped and being his first loss ever as a pro. This kid's 20-something and 0, and his first loss ever in his whole career. Confidence is gone. They picked Oscar Duarte to fight. But to be fair, I don't think they picked it. His promotion, Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins, picked it, Golden Boy Promotions. And if you've been watching that, there's a massive beef there.
There's a lot of drama
There's a
going on
disconnect that's been there for actually a little while, because It's been there for a couple of years because Ryan Garcia actually was trained by Canelo's team for a little bit, Eddie Reynoso, who Canelo ended up leaving Oscar De La Hoya as well, and it wasn't that good of a breakup, which no breakups are. But Ryan Garcia decided to stay with Golden Boy for whatever reason. Golden Boy is one of the top promoters, yes, but Oscar De La Hoya is a flawed human like we all are, but he's a little extra flawed for sure. But there's a major disconnect because you're talking about the press conference, which is the weigh-in the night before the fight. So the fights happen on Saturday. On Friday, had the press conference and weigh-in, and you have Ryan Garcia taking the stand and talking about Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins, not necessarily his opponent.
Yeah.
There's a major disconnect there. There's some toxic stuff going on there.
Yeah.
And you see, if you check out our Instagram page, Weighing In with Travis Hartman, you see some videos of that press conference. You see Oscar's face, then you see Bernard Hopkins' face, who, in their own right, they are Hall of Fame boxers, 100%. But to be totally fair, I don't think Oscar has figured out how to separate himself as a former great and as a promoter now.
Right.
And I don't think Bernard Hopkins has either. Because when this ego comes into play, you're actually, and here's the truth of it all is, you are working for Ryan Garcia. You are. He is the cash cow right now, and he really is. He's Golden Boy's biggest cash cow, 100%. He 100%, by money-wise, he's Golden Boy's cash cow, which Oscar and Bernard Hopkins are Golden Boy executives. So I don't get what they're doing in the background. I don't understand it. And I know that Bernard and Oscar were rooting for Oscar Duarte to beat Ryan Garcia.
There's a lot going on, Weekend Trav, and I don't think we're ever going to really know the extent of it because there's probably a lot of blame to be cast on all sides. Ryan Garcia will leave that situation eventually as the victim, but chances are he probably didn't help his situation any either, but also them two as promoters. It's hard to see whose interests are being served right now in that relationship. But that aside, we still had the fight to contend with.
Yep.
And Ryan Garcia, as we were kind of watching along with the fight, he finally kind of pulled. I mentioned it on the last pod of which Ryan Garcia are we going to see? Are we going to see Tank Davis Ryan Garcia, or are we going to see Luke Campbell Ryan Garcia? And I think we probably saw a little bit of in the middle in this one, but enough, obviously, to end the fight.
Yeah. So I have to address something that a lot of higher end people have talked about too in that fight. Ryan Garcia was doing this super weird turn, and he wasn't getting warned for it. And Duarte was hitting him in the back of the head and kind of in the back too, which because Ryan Garcia was doing this, he was doing the Philly shell, the classic Philly shell, something Mayweather does, but Mayweather does it in a different level. But he was twisting his body. He's a right-hander, so he's orthodox, right? But he was twisting to the right, exposing his left side massive amounts, and they warned Duarte for hitting him around there. So there was some questionable calls because Ryan Garcia was doing some weird turns. Like even for me as a boxer, like I was just like, it was very awkward. And a bunch of high-level people are like, dude, Trav, that was you can't do that. The referee didn't warn him one time, and he was completely turning his back, and he was. But in my opinion, ultimately, you're right, but ultimately didn't matter because Ryan Garcia stopped him in the 8th round. Okay, so good for Ryan Garcia. And Duarte, man, if you watch that fight, that dude's a little bulldog, a little pit bull, a little like his defense was so good, but yet somehow Ryan Garcia still popped him and finished him. Like I got to give respect, man.
Well, absolutely. You have to respect.
He did what I didn't think he could do to this guy.
Well, anyone in victory you're going to give respect to, but I'll actually push back on that. I'll actually mirror what Shakur said. He did what he was supposed to do. He won the fight.
Yeah. I mean, he was the favorite.
He was the favorite.
He was.
And it's hard to...
But I don't think he was the favorite for a knockout, though.
No, but I'd have to check. I don't know what the
odds,
I don't know what the over-under was.
It was negative 400 just for the win.
What
but
round?
The knockout, I don't believe... I don't know. I can check it.
I doubt they had to go in the distance. I would doubt it.
I mean, this guy's pretty solid, but I don't know.
Yeah, but either way, it's ultimately we're looking at a fighter who did what he was supposed to do. He just did it in a weird way, and there's drama attached to it.
Not a weird way. He did it in a very statement
but
way.
in the ring, he was doing weird stuff. There's drama leading up to it.
Weird.
And that just seems to
Derek
be...
James, he's with a new coach, too, which is a coach of Errol Spence.
But this is Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
He brings drama. He brings all this extra baggage, which is unnecessary.
Yeah.
And I still don't think he's quite right upstairs yet. I know he took time off for his mental health.
Yeah,
maybe he should have taken a little more time off, because it doesn't seem to me, at least as the outsider looking in, that things are exactly proper yet.
Well, I'll push back a tiny bit.
Okay.
Because after the fight, so Ryan Garcia is a big believer in Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He gives thanks in the post and pre-fight, all of that, and he did it. So this was pretty cool.
Yeah, he'll be like, F this. Thank God. Thank Jesus Christ.
Well, he was different this time, though. He on his way to the ring, he wasn't as smiley and happy. They was very well noted. You watched it. He wasn't. It was a different guy. Even in the ring, different guy. Post-fight press conference, he was super thankful for God, wasn't cussing, wasn't doing all that. But also, right after that, in the ring, Ryan Garcia, we posted it on our Weighing In with Travis Hartman Instagram page. Look at it. There's a video of it. Ryan Garcia was super thankful. Also, B-Money, I think he lended a future tell of his relationship with Golden Boy, and it was positive. He said, and he's not wrong, he's like, grace, forgiveness, all of that deserves its place, right? Right after he did that interview, he looked over, took a picture. Guess who he dapped up in the ring and hugged? Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah.
Both of them. And you see Oscar, too, a little change of tone.
And that's good.
So I think his belief in Jesus Christ is also, you got to give grace on both sides.
I think so.
And I hope that works out.
I hope, and yes. And maybe that's maturity, or at least growth of maturity in them both. But
we forget, Ryan Garcia is very young.
But yes, and he's young. But the presser and stuff like that prior to the fight
wasn't good.
That was immature.
Wasn't good.
Handle that stuff behind closed doors. Don't let us here in the media speculate and wonder what's going on and then cast stones, because that's what we do. This is what we're paid the big bucks to do, right? We make speculations and stories of nothing, which ultimately probably the presser ends up being nothing. If they forgive each other, if they get things back on track, because everyone's making money in the situation properly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the pressure was something still. I think Oscar handled it very immaturely, and he's the older guy.
Well, everyone involved did. Everyone involved did.
There were some stones casted social media-wise, is why Ryan Garcia kind of clapped back. I actually, man, I feel weird right now, because I'm actually standing up for Ryan Garcia, and it feels weird.
Well, it
feels
should
weird
feel
to
weird.
me.
That's what she said.
It does. It feels really weird, but I hope that what I'm saying now is Ryan Garcia taking a turn for the better.
Well, I think,
and maturing. I hope it's that.
I feel like we've said this before
on
the pod a long time ago.
I feel like it is happening.
But is it a head fake?
Yeah, I don't know, and I hope, because we both are believers, right?
Yeah.
And I hope that maybe that's my hope.
No one's ever going to be.
But I think he's doing better.
No one's ever going to be perfect. No one's ever going to be flawless.
We're perfect,
But it just seems that drama follows this guy no matter what. Last question I'm going to ask you about Ryan Garcia.
Oscar.
Well, yeah. So those two are two peas in a pod.
Toxic,
Which is weird that Bernard Hopkins got kind of tied up into that. Anyways, maybe
he loves it too.
I feel like he was supposed to be the one. I feel like he was supposed to be the one that kind of settles it, right?
I think that's why he's a partner of Golden Boys for that, but he didn't work out that one.
Last question I want to ask you about Ryan Garcia is this: what did you think about pre-fight on Saturday? Him coming up with the whole ribs thing leading into the Tank Davis fight. Why bother? What's the point? Why mention this stuff now, right before your fight on Saturday? What was he thinking in that?
I mean, I think that maybe that was for himself more than anything. I think maybe he was trying to pump himself up, trying to give himself that confidence, or I don't know. And that's a individual thing there, where we don't know why he did that. I mean, honestly, that could have been just from him. Like, I think he was trying to pump himself up. Like, hey, this is the confidence that I need going in, is that I actually didn't get beat by Gervonta the way I did because I was injured. Maybe that's what he was trying to say.
Well, Gervonta's moles made mention of it, right? In the whole thing. It's just weird to see on display someone with such notoriety having to mature before our eyes in the boxing realm, and almost like open himself up to the criticisms and then take offense to it when he's criticized.
So that's the tough part, B-Money, is we have to realize that this kid was in his early 20s in superstardom. He got not thrown in. He earned not earned it.
He found his way there. Yeah, he put himself there. He was selling soap. It was
very self-serving. It was very like he's a big social media star.
I always mention the soap.
And he was. You love the soap. I think you're selling the soap more for him than he's selling it for himself. But we got to realize at the end of the day, I genuinely can tell you guys, I turned professional at 20 years old, right? But I wasn't in the major scene like that. B-Money, I could tell you right now, like, I'm more mature now, but you're talking to me. If you talk to Travis, Weekend Trav.
That's the mature one?
20? No, that isn't. Yes, Weekend Trav.
Weekend Trav's the
Weekend
mature
Trav is actually
alter
the mature
ego.
one. It is. So if you go with original 20-year-old Trav, professional boxer, undefeated, first year boxing, and you put me on the major scene, you put all of my flaws out there, you're not probably looking at me the same way right now. You know
Well,
what I mean?
it also took.
Think about it.
It would also take you to
We're in
put.
a different age.
Yes, an era. It would have taken you also putting everything on social media, anyways. Which
It wasn't around.
it
though.
wasn't around.
So who knows if I would have?
Who knows what we would have done?
Yeah.
I probably would have. Whatever. So we can drive
tough.
Ryan Garcia victorious.
He won though. That's what matters. In a
Let's
impressive
not
fashion.
talk about what's next for him because there's plenty of time for that.
Yep.
We know the same names we talk about almost every
out there.
week. They're out
He fought this
there,
fight at 143 catch
Yeah.
weight, but 140 is there.
which is weird. Like, why? You had
Yeah, I don't-
time. You had time to
Yeah,
make
I know. That's where
140.
Oscar and him were like battling back and forth. Yeah, it is
I
what
don't
it is.
it's
I
just
don't know
weird.
either.
There's a lot of weird stuff that follows this guy.
I think he's going up even further than 140. I think, in my opinion,
We'll see what happens.
he's got the height. He could possibly. but we'll
2024, 24. It's going to be the Kobe year.
see. Ooh,
I'm taking it from you. You called me.
dang
out.
it.
We have an interview that dropped before this episode, which drops on Wednesday. We have an episode once again with Giovanni Stella, who fights Friday here in Orlando. And you called me out while I'm doing the production work. You called me
Producer.
out on the Michael Jordan year. How I said it's not the Michael Jordan year. No. I've said it is, but it's Washington Wizards Michael Jordan year.
It's true.
Because as we
I mean, it's true what he said. I don't believe it's true.
as we come to a close of
his
this
saying.
year, there's still stuff happening. There's still the big heavyweight bonanza going on, I think, in a week or two. And
December 23rd.
They should
yep.
call it that, the heavyweight bonanza. But I don't think the Brits.
You can coin that.
Yeah,
if you want.
that's what it is. Eddie Hearn, heavyweight bonanza.
Bonanza.
Even though there's a few other non-heavyweight fights on that. But anyways, I digress. So you called me out on the Michael Jordan year.
Yes.
I don't think it's like the greatest of all time year.
Oh wait, so you are admitting then Jordan is the greatest.
I
of all
always
time.
have.
Okay, cool. I like it.
I don't like LeBron James. I think he's a great player, but I don't think he's top 5 best.
He flops a lot.
Yeah, he flops a ton. You could check that out also on YouTube. We have a short of that. We can
LeBron,
try.
if a 10-year-old thinks you flops, of course we're gonna think you flop.
Everyone thinks you. Anyways, so that aside, I don't know where I'm going with this. So let's pull it back. Let's pull it back.
Well, I don't
Okay.
know where are we ever going with half of the stuff.
Well, I
we
don't know.
talk
So that was kind of the recap of the weekend. We did participate in the amateur fights here in Central Florida. It was in Winter Springs at Lake Howell High School.
UFC gym.
You had a couple guys on the card, and so we had a great
Joseph
time.
Herzberg, Iowa, a.k.a. Congratulations.
Good work.
2-0. You are one of the
Great fight.
toughest mother effers
As
ever.
as I told you after that fight was over, listen to the crowd. You were the main event. The main event, which was after your fight, I didn't hear people hollering as much as they were in that fight for you. So congratulations.
We had a good crowd. Garcia family, we love you guys as
yep.
well.
Thank you for being there and
so
support.
much for supporting. We love you guys.
So we can travel. Where do we go from here?
So, multiple things. One, we're having the honor of broadcasting the podcast at Wings Aviation. You guys know that our background and our backdrop is a little different. We are at Wings Aviation, which is a private airline here in Orlando, Florida. We're out here at MCO at Wings Aviation, which, by the way, if you are in the business of flying private, you 100% should reach out to these people because they are top of the line. If you checked out our Instagram, we had a private plane fly in the middle of our Giovanni Estella interview, and the guys get out and get into a Rolls Royce. So you should probably look for Wings Aviation.
And if you're you're in the business of looking for that, you should also invite us to travel with you.
Yes, because we have the #1
Beards, Bourbon, and Boxing podcast shot in Orlando, Florida, specifically Laureate Park. We're not there in Laureate Park today. Shot in a boxing gym on the second floor of said boxing gym in the TH Boxing podcast room facility, whatever. Shot on a Sunday or Monday, today being Sunday, dropping on
Wednesday morning at 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
in the world. That is our demographic. That is our niche. That's where we're at. That's where we dominate the space. We appreciate all the support.
Dominate it. We're a unanimous decision.
Unanimous. You said it right. So if you
I
have
heard Giovanni say it, so
it's pretty good.
He did
Even
good.
with his accent, he
And
said
he
it
did good.
If you are not subscribing yet to our content, please do so below. If you're on YouTube, hit the thumb up as well, and also the bell icon to hear or get notified next time we drop some more content. Because this guy over here has been busy, a busy bee. Interviews, all sorts of stuff. So we
got
have
a
stuff
lot.
dropping all the time, which is great and exhausting at the same time from
my
the producer
gosh.
role,
Yeah, B Money's been,
which is great.
If Weekend Trav is doing interviews, that means B Money's
means
doing
I'm
the
working.
same stuff. So like, dude, by the way, in this corner, Giovanni Marquez won his fight. I think it is a good thing to come away with Travis Hartman. Giovanni Marquez, undefeated, I believe 8-0 now, is killing the
Congratulations.
game. Mike Perry, undefeated, killing the game. Haskell Rhodes, unfortunately, did lose this weekend down on a Don King Promotions card. He lost a decision, but Haskell Rhodes, he's a dominant guy. Love you, brother. Thanks for coming on the podcast. But thanks to everybody for coming on the podcast. Even Giovanni Estella, who's undefeated, who's about to test that this Friday at the Crib Royale as well. But
well, let's talk about that real briefly because there's still a couple days when this drops till the Friday night event there. So Friday night at the Carib Royale, we have give the whole like name of
it's the WBA KO drugs fights, but they're also having the WBA. So the WBA,
but it stands for knockout drugs. Like you're knocking drugs out, not like these are knockout drugs.
This is very true.
It's knocking out drugs.
This is very true. So there's a very grammatically speaking. Thanks for B Money because he's not
the
wrong.
marketing side. I just want to clarify.
It's the producer side over here.
Yeah.
He's not wrong. Yes, they're knocking out drugs, not knockout.
Yeah. No.
Drugs.
Out.
There's no comma after knockout. Pause. Drugs. No. But so actually maybe there is. I don't know. But regardless,
let's keep going.
B Money is correct.
Friday night, Carib Royale.
So Friday night Crib Royale, the WBA is one of the four major sanctioning bodies. It's the IBF, the WBA, the WBC, and the WBO. WBA is having their convention here in Orlando, which Orlando has become a hub of conventions.
Yep.
They're trying to do that across the United States, across the world, actually, where people come here for their conventions. Well, guess what? The WBA now does it at Crib Royale the past couple of years.
So that'll be next week.
So the convention, so we're having the fights on Friday nights, which is Giovanni is fighting on. DAZN is broadcasting those fights. And after that, the next week, they're having the WBA convention, culminating for Jake Paul fighting here at Crib Royale on DAZN.
No comment.
We don't have to talk about that.
We're not.
And it's fine.
No comment.
But Friday night, we're going to this Friday, December 8th. We're going to be there live and in action, ringside like we always are. We, like I told on the podcast, on the In This Corner episode, we put our money where our mouth is. We always have.
If you see us out there, give us a shout out. Travis will probably want to buy you a drink if you say hey to him.
Listen, I'll probably want to take a picture. But
Probably.
I'm not buying a
Okay.
drink.
But if you see us,
tag us.
But if you see us out there, tag us. Hey, look at these knuckleheads or whatever. But just say hey. We'd love it. We've had a few folks do that while we're out there, and it makes us feel good about ourselves. Our little tiny egos.
That's what she said. But also, again, we're at Wings Aviation. I think we should put this out there at the fact that DAZN and Matchroom Boxing is like they have a tight relationship, right? Eddie Hearn, you fly private all the time, bro. Why are you not flying private with Wings Aviation?
Look at this.
Eddie Hearn's a big deal over in the UK. Everybody knows that. Eddie Hearn his dad was a big deal. Barry Hearn is huge deal. And then Eddie Hearn has kind of taken over and has grown boxing pretty well. He really has.
Yeah.
His cash cow is Anthony Joshua, who he's been scared to feed him to either Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury. But Wings Aviation, you better fly them.
But you know what would be cool too? I know when he comes into any town he goes into or wherever event, like if it's in England or if it's over here, he likes to also schedule a 5K run.
Yep.
I think the morning of or the day before or whatever else, Eddie Hearn started to become a big runner. There's plenty of coursework that we could create around these private airfields here for a 5K.
I also have a private boxing gym, bro.
And you have that too.
Private. Low-key, private.
But anyways, there's a lot of stuff that you can do, Eddie Hearn. You should be flying into here. Look at this setup. I mean, you can't see the other side of the camera, but you have a beautiful fireplace over here.
We even got a cigar stand over there, too.
We got the humidor
High-end
over
stuff.
there. We got Christmas trees. We have the beautiful counter, all the decor, everything else. The bathroom facilities had all the nice little things. If you just
It's
flew in, you could brush your
super
teeth and
fancy.
stuff. It was real nice.
Super fancy.
Beautiful. I have this
But to be
beautiful
fair,
ice
though,
ball.
the people that flew in and they just jumped in the Rolls Royce.
Yeah,
on the
they
route,
don't-
so
they don't care
they were
about us.
They were in a hurry.
Yeah.
But regardless, Eddie Hearn, you
Bad haircut,
definitely should
that
do
guy.
that.
You
But
could, you
it's a
know,
good
someone
area.
has a ton of money when they just flew in their private jet, got on their rolls. They have a terrible haircut, and they just don't give a two flying Fs about
Because who
anything.
knows where they came from? That's probably a long flight.
No, it
they're
was-
tired. They're wore out. They're like, you know what? I need to get in here and get the heck out of here.
Yeah, I'm here in Holando, ready to go. No, Orlando or Orlando? Orlando,
Or
not Horlando.
or
Orlando. I've lived here my whole life.
Orlando.
Weekend Trav. So that's Friday, Caribe Royale. I'm sure there's probably still tickets available, so check it out at Ticketmaster.
They're there, yep.
The fights are supposed to be live streamed on DAZN. Get
Not
there
live stream,
early.
That is actual.
I think doors open at 5, maybe 5 or 5:30. Get there early. You're going to want to get there early because it takes a bit to get in, and they're going to have more seats available than they had for Amanda Serrano a month ago.
Yeah.
And that took a while to get in. So if you're parking and all that stuff, figure out your plan
Give
now
yourself time.
because parking's limited on site at the Caribe Royale. Probably next door, within a block walking. It's easy to get there, but you're going to want to have a battle plan. Don't just show up like 30 minutes before thinking everything's going to be golden. It ain't. Show up early,
Yep.
get your parking spot. You're going to be in line to enter the building as well in security. So just kind of prep for that on a Friday afternoon, holiday time frame. Be ready for that, but it's going to be an awesome event. Check it out.
Definitely check it out. Those guys, we've said it, reiterated this on the In This Corner episode 2, that they're making boxing a new hub in Orlando, Florida. Thanks a lot, Box Lab.
Box
Thanks
Lab.
a lot, Eric and Amari. You guys are doing phenomenal stuff. We appreciate it. We
fact,
support
I
it.
think I'll be wearing my box lab.
Are you gonna wear your Box Lab?
Yeah, so don't wear yours.
Oh man, all right.
Or we both wear it.
We could look good.
Let's matchies. Let's do matching.
Maybe I'll wear my Wings Aviation hat.
Bingo.
Thanks to Mr. Giles Ash for hooking us up with this whole spot.
Did not.
all this.
I want to reiterate. He did not
refused.
want to be on camera. We tried
He
to give
refused.
him
He refused.
for our multitude of viewers to plug Wings Aviation, but he did not
He
want
did.
to be.
He said, "No, I don't want that."
He's just a very humble guy.
He's so humble.
Super humble.
Probably the most humble guy I've ever met.
Absolutely. There we go.
Giles is awesome.
You can hear us, I
Big boxing guy. Loves the box
Yep.
also. But Giles Ash is pretty awesome. He really is. Wings Aviation truly, genuinely really is awesome. We do this podcast. Me and B Money run this podcast top to bottom. We don't have to do it anywhere. We choose to do it in certain places. And the fact that they invite us out here to do this, we love
Lovely
this.
place.
We're
I
not
mean-
giving props to people because of sponsorship reasons.
No.
We control everything here and we love it and we choose to do that and we love coming here. These people are good people. So when we represent somebody, it actually means
I
something.
will be honest.
These guys are
I
awesome.
did get a free glass of bourbon out of it. So.
He did. And he got a really cool ice cube too.
And a great ice cube. Weekend Trap. Let's shift it then to final thoughts as we close up episode 142. My goodness. What's the definition of insanity?
You already know that, but hold on. Pause.
Okay.
Back up. Because we're going to have to do a results thing next week. This weekend is also Regis Prograis and Devin Haney on DAZN. So DAZN on Friday, Giovanni Estella, watch it. Also on Saturday, you're going to have Devin Haney, Regis Prograis. B-Money's not a fan. I am going to go out on a limb because I think this is a major limb that I'm going out on, and you know it is. I think it's going to be an exciting fight. It's for a world title. Okay, 140-pound division. Devin Haney vacated his 135-pound titles, all of them. He was the unified champ, undisputed.
Right.
Vacated them all. Said, you know what? I don't want those trash bags. I'm going to 140 to pick up more trash bags.
Well, somebody wants some trash. I'm going to say this the same I did with Shakur's last fight. Snooze fest. Z's across the screen. I'm not even. We're not going to make a thumbnail with it. It's just.
I could be drinking swell next week because I'm going to go back against you and say it's not a snooze fest. It's going to be exciting. So if it's not exciting, it's very subjective.
Well,
but
somebody's going to have to measure the excitement.
I'll be honest. We'll measure, and you know what? This is 6 inches, but whatever.
That's what she said.
But we'll be honest with it. I like you. You knew where we were going with that.
Oh, absolutely.
But I like it. That I think it's going to be more than a snooze fest.
Okay. So
I'll
that's
drink swell. I will drink
Okay,
swill
fine.
because of it.
And if it is exciting, I will drink the swill. That's the
Be
bet
honest,
then.
though. We got to be honest.
Yeah.
Our integrity is coming in check here.
Absolutely.
After next weekend.
We call it the swill integrity.
There.
The swill integrity.
I love it.
So
love
there
it.
you go.
So now.
Final thoughts?
We can do final thoughts.
Okay.
Oh my gosh! Wait, can I give you you give it to me? But can I give you final thoughts? Can I
Sure.
give you the what's the definition of insanity?
Yeah. So episode 142, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Have we become insane yet doing this 142 times?
Am I allowed? I thought it was your final thoughts right now. Am I supposed to comment to that?
Maybe that's now the final thought to you.
Oh.
I was already kind of crazy coming in. Don't let this flowing hair and glowing personality
beautiful
fool you.
Looks. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now that who's insane is the person that came to my house and made me do weighing in with Travis Hartman. You forced me to do this, so I'm gonna tell you that if anybody's insane, it's you. You forced me to join you on the insane
I've
club.
heard that before.
You recruited me into Sinville. And I was like, I'll jump on board. Let's do it.
You're on a long list of names that has called me crazy or insane at some point in my life. So fine.
You know what? I love this. And even before you came to my house and forced me to do it, I do believe in, I don't do vision boards. Like people write that stuff down. I don't do that.
Scrapbook it.
I don't do that. But people do like vision boards.
Yeah.
I'm not against them. But I did, if you go back.
Fellas at home, don't do that.
January of 2020,
Yep.
I put out a video, it was like a 50-second video of I'm starting a podcast and I want to do this. But I didn't it's not that I didn't follow through with it. It's life got busy. My business is good. TH Boxing, awesome, amazing. We're building people there. But B Money finally was just like reached out to me in July, I believe, of 2020. We started
Vision guys need action guys with them to push them along. It's
good
one
mix.
thing
It's a
to
good
have
mix.
the vision, but you have to be able to put it into action as well. And not saying you wouldn't, but someone to help pull you through it at the same time.
Yeah, and this is why we're friends and also a team. Is just like I don't have a problem putting things into action, but when you have other careers, other things you're doing, it makes it hard to put that time in. But it's not impossible. Most people claim they don't have the time, and really they don't have the love and the passion, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
We've clearly signified that we have the love and the passion, Be Money for boxing in this podcast because we're on episode 142.
Well, it's funny. I mean,
142, 3 years running.
For those that have followed along, I mean, they know my story with it. I was not a boxing guy to begin with. MMA and combat sports in general,
That was
yes.
kind of your niche.
But that was kind of like, that's what I kind of followed for the most part. And it had started to become lackluster to me at the time that we started this. And then through the 142 episodes, through the weeks and months that we've done this in years, I love boxing. I love going to shows. I watch
brought him
it.
to the dark side.
He brought me to the dark side. And you can hear by the way I describe and talk about it too, like folks at home, like they probably like half the time think, this guy's nuts. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Because you're right. Because I'm kind of learning on the fly a little bit. And I still am. But that's
No,
great.
they're probably like, we feel the same way because you're coming at it in a different view than I am. And that's why I love it. And that's what plays off of because I've been on the inside, the outside, and back on the inside, back on the outside. You're coming from the outside, and that's actually a cool viewpoint. It is, to be fair.
You're coming from the inside and then the outside and then back to the inside.
But that's a cool viewpoint. And I
game
think
plan.
people like to see that. It's refreshing to like connect with somebody. I think people connect with the fact that you're coming from their viewpoint sometimes. Solid. So I guess my final thoughts are solid.
All right. That over there is the talent. Weekend Trav.
That there is B Money, aka producer, aka the man, the myth, the legend, the
God
locks.
bless. God bless.
God bless.